If you woke up this morning and checked your bank account, you might be wondering whether the February deposit looks exactly the way it should. Maybe it feels slightly different. Maybe you were expecting a bit more. Or maybe you are just nervous because it is a new year and you have heard talk about recalculations. If you receive old age security or the guaranteed income supplement, this video is for you. Today we are going to calmly walk through the February 25th, 2026 deposit. I will explain what you should see, why the amount may look slightly different from last year, and how the rules from the Government of Canada actually work. No rumors, no exaggeration, just the official framework so you can feel informed and in control. Let's start with the basics. The February 25th deposit is your regular monthly payment from the federal government. For most seniors watching this channel, that means benefits under the Old Age Security Program, often called OAS, and for lower-income seniors, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, known as GIS. Both of these are administered by Service Canada under the Government of Canada. Now here is why February can cause confusion. Every January, many seniors are thinking about New Year changes. There is talk about inflation. There are headlines about cost of living adjustments. And some people assume that January or February always brings a major increase. But OAS does not change in January. OAS is adjusted 4 times a year, in January, April, July, and October, based on inflation, using the Consumer Price Index. If inflation rises, OAS can increase at the start of a quarter. If inflation does not rise enough, the amount stays the same. It does not go down due to inflation adjustments. GIS works differently. GIS is recalculated every July based on your previous year's income, as reported to the Canada Revenue Agency. That means your July 2025 to June 2026 GIS payments are based on your 2024 income tax return. So when you look at your February 25, 2026 deposit, you are still inside the July 2025 to June 2026 GIS payment cycle. That is very important. Now let's talk about what you should expect to see. If you are age 65 to 74, you receive the standard OAS monthly amount for your age group. If you are 75 or older, you receive a slightly higher base OAS amount. That increase for those over 75 has been in place since 2022 and continues into 2026. The exact dollar figures for February 2026 depend on the official quarterly indexation announced by the Government of Canada. If inflation adjustments were applied in January 2026, your February payment would reflect that updated quarterly amount. If inflation was flat, the amount would remain the same as the previous quarter. There is no surprise adjustment specific to February itself. February is simply the second month of the January-March quarter. For GIS recipients, your February 2026 GIS amount depends on 3 main things: your marital status, your total income from 2024, and whether you receive OAS. GIS is income tested. That means the more income you report, for example from CPP, part-time work, pensions, or investment income, the lower your GIS may be. If your income is very low, your GIS will be higher. Now let's walk through a simple example to make this real. Imagine a single senior receiving OAS and GIS. In 2024, their total income excluding OAS was around $10,000. Based on that income level, they qualify for a certain monthly GIS amount during the July 2025 to June 2026 period. If nothing changed in their marital status and there was no reassessment, their February 25th, 2026 GIS payment should be the same as their January 2026 GIS payment, aside from any quarterly OAS inflation adjustment. Now imagine another senior. In 2024, they withdrew extra money from an RRSP, increasing their reported income. Even if they only withdrew it once, that income appears on their tax return. When Service Canada recalculated their GIS starting July 2025, their monthly GIS went down. By February 2026, they may still feel surprised by that lower amount, even though the change actually started the previous July. This is one of the most common misunderstandings we see. Many seniors assume that if their payment changes early in the year, something new has happened. But in reality, the key recalculation for GIS happens every July, not January or February. Now let's talk about OAS clawback, also known as the OAS recovery tax. If your annual net income exceeds the government's threshold, part of your OAS can be recovered through your taxes. This threshold is reviewed each year. The Canada Revenue Agency calculates this based on your net income, which you can find on line 23,600 of your Notice of Assessment. However, most seniors watching this channel who receive GIS are well below that threshold, so the OAS recovery tax does not apply to them. If you are in a middle income bracket and close to the threshold, your February 2026 OAS amount could reflect a recovery adjustment if your 2024 income was above the limit and CRA processed that information. Again, this is not a February surprise. It follows established government rules. So what should you do right now? First, log into your My Service Canada account. This is the official portal where you can see your benefit breakdown. It shows your OAS amount, your GIS amount, and any deductions. Second, review your most recent Notice of Assessment from the Canada Revenue Agency. Look at your net income on line 23,600. That number directly affects GIS and potentially OAS recovery. Third, check for letters from Service Canada. If there was any adjustment, overpayment notice, or reassessment, they usually send written communication explaining why. If your February deposit is exactly the same as January, that usually means everything is stable. If it changed slightly, the most common reasons are quarterly inflation indexing or a correction processed from earlier documentation. Here are some common situations that cause confusion. A senior switches from being married to widowed status. That changes GIS calculation significantly because the income test is different for singles compared to couples. A spouse begins receiving CPP. That household income increase can reduce GIS. Someone delays filing their taxes. If CRA does not have your latest income information, GIS payments can be temporarily suspended until your tax return is processed. Another common concern is overpayments. If Service Canada later determines that you received more GIS than you were entitled to, often because income was higher than reported, they may gradually recover that amount. This can reduce your monthly payment slightly. This does not mean you did something wrong intentionally. It simply means the income data changed after reassessment. Now let's talk briefly about inflation and expectations. OAS is indexed to inflation every quarter. That means if prices rise, OAS can increase to help protect purchasing power, but increases depend entirely on official CPI data. There is no fixed annual raise. It depends on inflation. GIS maximum amounts also adjust periodically, in line with OAS changes, but eligibility still depends on your income. So when you look at February 25th, 2026, think of it as part of a structured system. OAS reflects quarterly inflation adjustments. GIS reflects your 2024 income during the July 2025 to June 2026 cycle. Any recovery tax reflects CRA's income thresholds. There is no hidden February policy change. Now let's consider what happens next. Your current GIS cycle continues until June 2026. In July 2026, Service Canada will recalculate GIS again, this time using your 2025 income. If your 2025 income was lower than 2024, your GIS could increase in July 2026. If it was higher, your GIS could decrease. That July recalculation is usually the biggest annual shift for low-income seniors. Between now and then, OAS may adjust again in April 2026 if inflation data warrants it. That adjustment would apply automatically. You do not need to apply for it. Let me reassure you about something important. OAS does not suddenly stop without notice unless there is a serious eligibility issue, such as residency or extended absence from Canada. GIS does not randomly disappear unless income information is missing. Most payment changes follow predictable government formulas. If your February deposit looks correct and stable, that is a good sign. If it looks slightly different, do not panic. Compare it with your January amount. Check your online account. Review your tax notice. Look for official letters. Avoid relying on social media rumors or dramatic headlines. The Government of Canada publishes official payment dates and indexation updates. Service Canada agents can also confirm your specific case if needed. Before we finish, let me summarize clearly. Your February 25, 2026 deposit should reflect your current OAS quarterly rate and your GIS amount based on your 2024 income. There is no special February reduction rule. There is no automatic cut at the start of the year. Any difference you see usually ties back to inflation adjustments, income changes, marital status updates, or prior reassessments. This system may feel complicated, but it is rule-based and consistent. If you are unsure, your best tools are your My Service Canada account, your CRA Notice of Assessment, and official letters from Service Canada. Now I would like to hear from you. Did your February deposit match what you expected? Was it the same as January or slightly different? Share your experience in the comments and let us know whether you receive OAS only or both OAS and GIS. That helps others feel less alone in their situation. And if you want calm, accurate updates about Canadian retirement benefits explained in plain language, consider subscribing to Retirement Path Canada. We focus only on official rules and real information, so you can feel steady and informed about your retirement income. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next update.